Greetings, friends. Reformed Stoic here. I don't really know what this video is going to be titled. I'll think of it after I'm done making the video. But I just wanted to reflect on some thoughts I was having today. A little bit on the discussion we had today on stream. It might have seemed like a pretty crazy turning point in my beliefs and the things I'm into. So I figured I'd better clarify and kind of give my official position of where I'm at with my beliefs. And then there's just kind of a little side rant dialogue that can follow. So I read a book, and I'm not going to really go into the details of this book, but basically somebody in the book said something about aliens, reptilians, like a parasitic race that's amongst us, basically exactly like they live. Like shapeshifters, people that maybe like they were the pagan gods, like in the real form, they were the pagan gods. And then over time, they learned how to blend in. And, they make up the ranks of the elites and yada yada. They've engineered the modern world. They fill the ranks of high-level military intelligence and the alphabet agencies, yada yada yada. And they're behind phenomenon like, gang stalking. And I have a way, and, anybody who's watched my stream for a long time, you should know that this is true. I have a way of kind of just entertaining ideas because, ultimately my content is sitting on the couch, having a discussion. It made for a very interesting discussion. Now, do I believe that? Do I believe that there is a parasitic shape-shifting race? Now, I did say on stream that they tend to be the dark triad, narcissist, psychopaths, and those people could either be possessed by some sort of a spiritual parasite or a parasite entity that possesses people, or they could be physical shapeshifters, or maybe it's both. I really kind of just sat there and speculated about this idea that I read in a book, and it's not a new concept. It's not something that I had never considered or heard before. It ties a lot of things together. Like the Robert Monroe thing about the Loosh farm, or the idea of the ancient aliens, the Sumerian stuff. I used to be really into that. Some people say, oh, the Trinity is Anu, Enlil, and Enki, or like Anu and Enlil both together were Yahweh, and then Enki was like the serpent in the garden. See, people talk to me about that stuff. Like, there's these really edgy people in my chat that sometimes I think have something to do with like people who are targeting me, and they're getting ready to like shop these ideas to me, like, oh, Yahweh is actually a number of alien entities. Like, they're saying this to me like I haven't heard it already. Bro, I was studying that heavily, I don't know, like 6 years ago, 7, 8, going on 10 years ago, bro. I have been around the block. And that's why it's about time for me to make this video that I'm making right now. Okay, so do I believe in a demon, alien, reptilian race that hides itself amongst people? I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. And that's going to be kind of the pattern in this video. Am I a Gnostic? Do I think that... And by the way, there's a number of different variants of what Gnosticism means. Some people full out... I was just trying to read a book on Gnosticism called Not Made in His Image. I got 40 pages deep, and I just threw it out because it was just a bunch of whining. Like, oh, then the Christians killed the pagans, and then the Christians are patriarchs, and they're mean to women, and have you heard about Wounded Knee? Oh, and I'm not trying to be insensitive. It's just that I was reading a book trying to learn about Gnosticism, and that was clearly the wrong book. Like, apparently Gnosticism means, and then the Christians were mean to these people, and they're mean to these people, and the brave Indians, and the brave pagans, and then they killed Hypatia, and they were Christians. Did I say that it was Christians? It was just like a bunch of whining, bro. Which is very quickly making me think, okay, now I'm starting to remember why I sided with Christianity, but I'm just kind of like carelessly bouncing around. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's aliens, maybe it's parasite alien monsters that used to pretend to be the gods, or maybe they're just narcissists, or maybe it's the CIA, or it's the Jesuits, or it's the Freemasons, or I don't know, maybe it's like a Freemason Jesuit lizard monster. I don't really care, guys. You know what I know for sure? That something went really wrong in my life when I went on my little spiritual journey, and I'm still spiritual. I still believe something. Let me tell you what I believe. So, do I believe in the parasitic alien race? Maybe. It sounds plausible to me. It wouldn't really contradict anything. You know, you can still learn about the Patriot Act and the military establishment and deep underground bases and tunnel drilling machines. See, I read 2 books on the same subject. One, probably, see, the people saying that it's like an alien race, that's probably disinformation. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. And then the other one was going into some deep info that I don't really want to discuss here because it's really spicy about, fusion centers and some particular, like, military bases and stuff that maybe have underground technology and yada yada. It was spicier than that. I'm just not going to go into the details of it. But the thing is like, okay, well, maybe the people who run these fusion centers and military bases, maybe they're alien monster people. I mean, I just don't really care, dude. Maybe. And then where it gets really messed up is like, do you think Yahweh is like really God, or do you think Yahweh is like an imposter demiurge? I don't know. And what's crazy is that that's where I was before I became a Christian. I had this moment where it's like, do I think Yahweh's God or demiurge? Because that's a big deal, dude. Like, that's a really big deal. And I guess what it comes down to is none of it's really like a big deal to me. I think I'm a philosopher, guys. And I got really deep in theology. And so let me kind of hash out where I'm at with my beliefs. I accept Christ. I believe that Christ is the best. Jesus is the best. I'm not exactly sure where I'm at theologically, because here's kind of how I see the modern world. I call it the problem of the Neapolitan way. We live in a time where it's like, I think that I believe in God now, and I think it's the Christian God. So I'm gonna go on the internet and I'm gonna either learn how to, let's see what the Protestants have to say. Ooh, that sounds good. Ooh, here's a Catholic. Oh, here's an Orthodox. It's like you're kind of like, you got your grocery cart online, and it's like, okay, I'm a chud, and I found God, because that's what happens to chuds whose lives go wrong. That's what I know for sure, is that my life went very wrong. Like, my life just absolutely crashed into the rocks, and nobody cared about me enough to help drag me out of it. And I maintain that, bro. And as soon as I say that, people are like, it's not anybody's job. It's not anybody's job to help you, dude. It's like, you know what? A little bit of help would have gone a long way, because I have all kinds of talents and brains. And, like, if somebody would have just helped me out of my rut, I got the kind of skills to where I could play drums for a living. I do. And people usually use that as an opportunity to lecture me about how it's not anybody else's responsibility. That's fine, but if somebody would have helped me, my life could have been completely different, and I would have been like, man, thanks to that guy who helped me when I was down, because instead of rotting away and going down the spiritual rabbit hole, I made it somewhere in life. But nobody really cared about me enough to do that, and the kind of people who lecture me about how it's my fault, they're people who just didn't want to see me get anywhere, bro. And it became evident that, because I say that my life went wrong, but my life was already wrong, dude. And I've analyzed my life on stream even so many times. Like, Kodiak is just like a cold, dark, fucked up place, man, with really like mean, nasty people. And when I'm trying to think, like, man, are really intense psychopaths and narcissists with military connections, are they some sort of like weird lizard shapeshifter people? I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Maybe I should try to be a little bit more serious. Like, oh no, of course not. I mean, I just wouldn't be surprised, bro. Is that okay? I mean, there's other people out there who believe it. There's guys who wear suits and make DVDs and, you know, and talk about how they believe that. And it's like, I wouldn't be surprised. But let's try to hone it in here because I haven't even really got to my point. So the metropolitan time where it's like, I believe in God because I've had a messed up life. So do I want to be a Protestant? Here's all the Protestant arguments. Do I want to be a Catholic? Here's all the Catholic arguments. Do I want to be Orthodox? Here's all the Orthodox arguments. And I've been going through that cycle for a really, 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 really long time. And I'm to a point where it's like, you know, I think all of these people are like pretty good people for the most part. And I don't think any of them are going to suffer in eternal conscious torment for having the wrong view. It's funny, like when you go through this Christian denomination washing machine for long enough and you hear all these arguments, it's like, man, everybody's making great points and you're all like pretty smart people. And can we just all get along? I mean, the reason that I still favor the Catholic Church is because it was first and because it's a good choice. It's a great choice. If you tell me you're a Catholic, I'm like, good choice. That was the last choice I made before I started to realize that, you know, because when you're to the point where it's like, maybe I'm a Gnostic, maybe I'm a Catholic, I don't know, maybe I'm a Buddhist, maybe everybody's a lizard person, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. And it's causing like weird, it's like, I love you, I hate you, you're my friend, you're my enemy, what are you doing, Stoic? Yes, no. Like there's people who are really caught up in this stuff. It's like, I don't know, Jesuit, lizard people, Freemason, monster, CIA agents. I got nothing, dude. The one thing that I know for sure is that my life has been a monumental disappointment. And what do people say to that? It's all your fault. Well, that's why I tried to find spiritual console, because that answer hasn't really helped me with anything. It's like, man, I'm a disenfranchised man. I have this feeling that people don't like me. I have this feeling that women don't like me. I have this feeling that boomers don't like me. I have this feeling that people just don't like me. And it's like, I can play the drums and I can kind of rap too. And I, you know, I feel like I'd be a good writer for a TV show. Some people say I do good at stand-up. Like, man, I have all these like abilities and talents, and people are like, oh, dude, we're gonna just talk about yourself all day. It's like, isn't there somebody who can help me get a job? Isn't there somebody who can help me get a gig? Like, I just wish somebody could have helped me get somewhere, because believe it or not, there was a time when I like scoured Craigslist, and I don't want to like randomly bounce back and forth between my life being disappointing and my inability to make it in music for whatever reason, in my opinion, for a lack of connections. It's just that I do still think I'm spiritual. I am still walking some sort of a spiritual path. But when you get to a point, it's like, this is a really important question, Stoic. Do you think Yahweh is God, or do you think Yahweh is an alien monster pretending to be God? And when you are honestly at a point where it's like, man, I don't know. I like the New Testament better. I think it's kind of funny how, because I've gone down the theology rabbit hole. We're under 15 minutes. We're doing good here. Let's start pumping the gas. You got the Judaizing heresy. I just don't want to offend anybody. We're going to go over all of it. Like, you got the Judaizing heresy, which is Jehovah's Witnesses, which is like, you know what? Jesus isn't God. Jesus was a messenger of God, the Son of God, the Messiah. Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. But ultimately, guys, the New Testament is still very much in play. We got to follow the laws of Moses. We got to follow the dietary laws. So let's not get carried away with Jesus. It's, you know, in layman's terms, it's like Old Testament heavy. The God in the Old Testament is the only God, and Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. So that's the Judaizing heresy. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the Gnostic heresy. The Gnostic heresy. So And then I've heard people say that like Mormons are similar to Gnostics. Something tells me that Mormons wouldn't like you saying that, but at the same time, I can see that. But Judaizing and Gnosticism are both equally heresies, according to like Catholics and Orthodox. So Gnostics, and now I know there's a few different views of Gnostics, but we're going to kind of go with what I understand to be like a Marcionite and also a Valentinian kind of view, that basically the Jews are right about Jesus and he's not really the Jewish Messiah, but then people are like, hey, you know what? I know, and I'm still rocking with Jesus. So like, and it's this complex sci-fi thing, like, oh, Jesus is an aeon that came to liberate us from Yahweh, which they called Yaldabaoth, which is like the demiurge, janitor god that isn't really God, and it basically just sounds like a sci-fi movie or sci-fi novel. What I was saying on stream today is like, well, people who make sci-fi movies and novels are really smart, and people who make video games are really smart, and maybe they know, you know? And maybe they do, and maybe they don't. It's like, that's not okay, Stoic. So, and then, you know, at one point, you know, I was in somebody's Discord who was basically a Jehovah's Witness. It was the Judaizing heresy. Maybe he wasn't a Jehovah's Witness, but he was going with the Judaizing. So I've been on both ends of the spectrum. It's like, oh, you know, Yahweh is God, Jesus isn't God, Jesus is the Son of God, and the Messiah, he's a lot of things, but we were never meant, there's no new covenant, we still follow the old covenant, which is basically like Jehovah's Witnesses. Before that, I was kind of half-assed agnostic. I was into the occult, but it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, bro, and I actually know a lot more about it now than I did back then. And then today on stream, I was like, I don't know, bro, I think maybe I'm a Gnostic again, LMAO, like, I can't decide if Yahweh is God or a closet janitor monster. I mean, and a lot of people probably think that's not a good place to be, bro, but I will just say that the Old Testament doesn't really do much for me. It's more like history, you know? It's history. I'm not really inspired by much in the Old Testament, and whenever it is, it's the Psalms and the Proverbs. And some interesting research. By the way, I'm probably about to read Kenneth Kitchen's on the reliability of the Old Testament to just learn a little bit more about the Old Testament, because reading it just really doesn't do much for me. But like the Ten Commandments can also be found in other books, like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and some of the Psalms can be found in other books. And then what you hear from apologists is like, well, this is just the greatest wisdom of the time. And what I believe that I've heard, and I need to go down this rabbit hole more, but I started looking into this for myself from a very biased position of wanting to jump to the defense of the Old Testament. But now I just kind of feel like a philosopher who really just wants to know the truth. A good game, everybody. I had fun debating people, and I really do feel like I won a lot of the time because I'm a good debater, bro. It's like debate club. I used to debate against Christianity. I used to debate as a Judaizer. I used to debate as a Protestant. I used to debate as a Catholic, and I won every single time. And you know what that shows me? It doesn't matter. I can win as anything, dude. You guys are lacking. Now I'm going to become a Gnostic again, and can you guys beat me? Like, it's just kind of a game to me, dude. And the one thing I know for sure as a mantra throughout the video is that something went terribly wrong in my life, guys, because I think I'm a talented guy. I think I'm good at this. I think I'm good at debates and theology, and I just kind of feel like I'm in this black hole, and I can't find my people anywhere. You know, whatever church I go to, because I keep not being able to finish this idea of the problem of the metropolitan time. But you probably got an idea of it. Like, you pick a faith out of a shopping cart, because, okay, that sounds good to me, and then you go to the church, and it's the same kind of people in every church, and I'm not saying they're bad, dude. It's just, if you're like me, who ended up isolated and feeling like you can't get anywhere in the world, you can't really get anywhere with women, you just can't really get anywhere, and then, of course, people in my life, it's like, that's because you're a bad person, it's your fault. you get isolated. You try to figure out how to leave isolation. I feel like people were gossipy in the Protestant church. My honest experience is that people in the Protestant church are like, "Hey neighbor, how's it going?" And then they act like they love you. And then as soon as you say anything that's a little bit weird, they're like, that's my impression of Protestants. Like, they get right up in your grill. It's like, "Hey, you want to come to dinner? Hey, you want to come to lunch? Hey, you want to do everything with me forever?" And then one day you're like, "Yeah, I used to be into the occult." Or like, "Yeah, I used to play in a death metal band." Like, they love the shit out of you until you say one thing that's like a little bit human. Yeah, it's like, I haven't really been on a date in 7 years, and I'm kind of like depressed and sad and alone, and I think I might die alone because I'm short and bald. I'll be right back. That's like Protestants, and then Catholics are just kind of like, oh, oh, oh. Like, they just glare at you and don't say anything. It's ironic that they think that like they're the most holy people ever, because they kind of remind me of Damien. They kind of remind me of like a bunch of Damiens. Like, you walk into a Catholic church, they're just like, like, they just like glare at you like you're the most horrible person ever. Like, "Hi, I'm sorry. Hi. Sorry, yeah, I'm here. I love Jesus too, and you guys love me? Kind of doesn't look like it. Okay, I'm gonna go now." And then they just never say anything to you and never invite you to anything, and then that's it. So Protestants are like really fake nice, and Catholics aren't. Like, they just fucking glare at you, dude, because they think you're going to hell. Because at least Protestants think all you need is Jesus, but Catholics, yeah, you're probably not going to heaven, dude, as a Catholic. It's like this game. It's kind of like a board game where it's like, "Oh, it's time to go to confession. Go straight to confession." Like, you got hit by a car and you forgot to go to confession. Go to hell for all eternity and get tortured by demons forever. It's just... And I'm sorry if this sounds like disrespectful, guys, but I'm not saying I'm an atheist. And I'm not saying that I'm anti-Christian. I believe in Jesus. Now, do I think that it's only the Gospels and not like, Paul was just on one and like it doesn't really matter what Paul said? I don't know. Do I think that somebody rewrote the New Testament somehow to like change things? Like maybe Gnostics were right and Jesus was an infiltrator and people just kind of like switched things up a little bit. Like, "Ooh, we'll just write in that he said something about Abraham." I don't know. Because I'm not going to act like I don't think that could happen. I'm not going to act... I just don't know. And I played the theology game, and I debated people, and I don't know. I'm not really inspired by the Old Testament. As far as, like, original sin, I believe that people appear to be corrupted. And I don't want to be disrespectful, guys. I don't want to sit here and, like, make a comedy routine out of not knowing. I just don't know, man. And I guess it's kind of going in a perennial direction where I would say you should just study every single faith. Like, if you believe in something, you should probably know the ins and outs of every single faith. And some of them are incredibly difficult. There's a lot of books in Hinduism. There's the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Laws of Manu. And I know a little tiny bit about every single one. But then it gets to a point, it's like, this is like a black hole that sucks you in, and it doesn't really do anything. Like, I'm still lost in life. I'm still isolated. I still haven't really got where I'm going. And maybe I'm just to a point where it's like I'm sitting here and I've offended Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses and Catholics and Orthodox and everybody. And I'm just offending everybody. My spiritual quest has just completely isolated me and left me more alone than I was before. And it's like, I believe in Jesus, man. That's what I believe in. I don't believe in the inerrancy of Scripture. I believe that there could potentially be problems with the Bible. I hear all kinds of arguments for that. Some people are KJV only. Some people are like, oh, King James was a Freemason and he was friends with Francis Bacon, and maybe for some reason that's bad. I'm kind of thinking I like Francis Bacon lately. I don't know. Was Francis Bacon evil? Maybe. Was Francis Bacon cool? I don't know. Were the Rosicrucians actually based? Maybe. I don't know, dude. I'm pretty confident about some of my opinions about the government. I can tell you that much because they've been fucking with me for years. So I just kind of don't know, guys. But my video, Catholic mysticism, I still recommend it. When you treat Catholicism like a system that eradicates sin, it's great. It's perfect. It does the job. And basically, Orthodox and Catholics are just pretty much the same. Couple of theological differences, but they're arguing over, who's the continuation of the original church. But I'm just saying, it's like, oh, I don't want to be Catholic. Okay, Orthodox then. So, but everything I said in that video, like one of the things I ended up saying is like, look, if you wanted to do, like, get confirmed, get baptized, because I don't think there's any reason not to, get confirmed and baptized in the church. Go to RCIA. You might as well. And then if you decide, it's like, hey, LMAO, I don't even think I want to be a Catholic at all. And that's fine. And clearly that might be what I'm doing. But it's good for you. And then you do the first 5 Saturdays devotional. Pray the rosary every day. Go to Mass. And on the first Saturday of every month, go to confession. Take the Eucharist. And then after you pray your rosary that day, do an extra 15 minutes meditation on the mysteries. I did that for 5 months. And apparently, in the Miracle of Fatima, the apparition of Mary told these kids that if you do that, then she will aid you in salvation. I mean, and do I believe that happened? I don't know. But apparently, like, thousands of people saw that apparition. But I'm getting to a point, it's like, okay, you don't know. That's been established. So I'm starting to see some of these spiritual practices as, is it good for you? Like, do I think praying the rosary is good for you? Yes. Do I like Mary? Yes. Do I like Jesus? Yes. I believe in Jesus. I believe Jesus was real. I'm not just throwing everything out the window, but there's a lot of questions. And I'm seeing that you'll get weighed down if you just act like or pretend to believe something that you don't. It's like, I don't know, but I'm looking for the truth and I want to find it and I intend to. And so what I was saying is, get confirmed, get baptized, do the first 5 Saturdays devotional. And at that point, if you don't want to go to Mass anymore, then don't. It's like a spiritual boot camp. That's what I said in the video. And that's a very bizarre thing to say. Like, Catholics aren't going to like that. I mean, you might have to, like, not tell Catholics that you're doing that. But that's kind of cool. That's, like, kind of a culty thing. It's like using the Catholic Church as a spiritual boot camp. And I don't know, man. Maybe whatever, like, cult that it seems like I'm creating, you just go to a Baptist church for a while, go to a Catholic church for a while, and just go to churches for a while. And if at some point, like, you like one and you like people there, then maybe just hang out there and meet a girl who you can marry. And I mean, because it's probably just going to be because there's cool people. It's like, man, I didn't realize that Mormons were so cool. Or, wow, I'm sure having a great time with these Calvinists. It's like, man, these Orthodox Christians sure do play a mean game of poker, because as far as the theology, as far as the beliefs, I don't know. And it's sad that Christians all think that they're going to hell. And so when it comes to, like, Buddhism, I just think, and when people attack Buddhism, like, oh, Buddha says that there's no God. It's like, well, it's easy to apply it even if you do believe in God, and I do. And I'm starting to believe in, like, a mystic God. Like, I know that there's a creator, a first cause. I know that there's, like, an intelligence. Is that intelligence Yahweh? I don't know. I think Jesus is with it. So I just don't know, and where I run into problems is I try to replace it. It's like, oh, okay, I'm a Gnostic, or I'm a Buddhist, or I don't know. I'm a philosopher. I'm a philosopher. I believe in God. I'm a Christian, but I just don't know. And I know that there are a lot of wicked people in the world. There does seem to be us and them. I was thinking about making a video. They're not like us. They're not like us, like the Kendrick diss on Drake. Just saying, they're just not like us, bro. Are they serpent, lizard aliens? Are they possessed by demons? I don't know. They're just not like us, and they don't like me because they know I'm not like them. There is a difference. These chosen ones, because I'm still digging that movement, man. I gotta tell you, my life story, the chosen ones hits it right on the head. They're just not like us, man. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of a parasitic alien race, but not necessarily meaning from outer space, which I'm really leaning towards that doesn't exist, by the way. That just makes sense to me, because aerospace people get so triggered, and aerospace people seem to be like narcissists. But anyway, that's like a... So, and, you know, I see people, like, there's this never-ending smear campaign against me. It's like, oh my gosh, Stoic said that is like, everything's lizard people's fault. What an idiot. Don't listen to anything he says. So it seems like while I'm under attack, this is like another weakness. It's like, oh, now I'm not even sure about what I believe. So I've been attacked because of something that I believe that offended somebody, and I don't even know if I believe that. But some things that are immovable is that my life went incredibly wrong, but what I perceive as it going incredibly wrong was realizing how fucked up my life was to begin with, and it all hinges on just where I was born, man. Like, wow, I feel like if I was born in LA or New York, like, I'd probably be playing drums for a living, you know, assuming I developed that skill, or maybe I would have developed a different skill that's more marketable. Maybe I just would have been a doctor or something, you know? Then I'd be gang stalking people. And that's very likely. Like, I do tend to think I could have been somebody who was in the freaking Yale Skull and Bone Society or Freemason or something. That could have been me. Seems like you're either food or you're eating people, man. Eat or be eaten. Dog eat dog world out there. So my life is messed up. There's something really wrong with the world. There's something wicked about military and law enforcement. They're crawling. Military, law enforcement, ABC, alphabet soup agencies, think tanks like the Rand Corp and Council on Foreign Relation, fraternal orders, like they're just crawling with narcissists. And are those narcissists possessed by demons or alien monsters? Maybe. Wouldn't be surprised. I almost wanted to adopt that view just out of spite. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever, you alien monsters trying to pretend to be a human, but... And I want to stop joking about the Yahweh Gnostic stuff, because that's huge, dude. What a weird point to be, where it's like... I feel like I could just see it either way, man. Because, again, I don't know if I ever finished my thought. I see the interplay between the Gnostic heresy and the Judaizing heresy, and you have people who are like, oh, well, Christianity is not about love at all. It's about destroy your enemies, and you know, you're only looking out for your own, and you don't have to tell the truth to people. It's like, okay, well, you're citing things from the Old Testament. And then there's the people, the New Testament, who are like, love and understanding and peace, and can't we all just get along? It's like, well, you're not taking into account the Old Testament. It's like, okay, clearly there's some people who kind of cling to the Old Testament. There's some people who kind of cling to the New Testament. And I'm clinging to the Gospels. I'm clinging to, well, I've already said, Matthew 7 and the 8 Beatitudes. And then the 10 Commandments is great. But apparently maybe the 10 Commandments came from the Book of the Dead or other places as well. But to me, yeah, it seems like Jesus was much more on some sort of like an Eastern type of a thing. So it's a lot less edgy for me to just say that I'm becoming some sort of like a Buddhist, Eastern, mystic kind of a person. There's a lot of edginess attached to Gnosticism. The fact that the first book I was trying to read about it was somebody like crying about, they did this to the Indians, the Christians did this to the pagans, Christians are mean. And then just a lot of like, pagans good, smart, based, Christians bad, dumb, stupid. It's like, wow, this isn't really very good scholarship. And then everybody in the comments is like, this is the best book I've ever read. This has changed my life. And so this is who I really am, guys. I feel like I've been wearing this mask, trying to like find friends or find wherever I belong. And there's narcissists in every church. There's just normies in every church. But maybe I am the problem. But I don't think the problem is that I'm a narcissist or that I'm a bad person. I just think I'm starting to see through this veil of the world, and I haven't found the truth yet. I'm sitting here telling you that I don't know if Yahweh is the all-loving God or a janitor monster. So I don't know, man. I'm a philosopher. I intend to find the truth, and I just don't want to lead anybody astray. So if you want some shopping cart YouTube, like, hey guys, ding, like with a shining smile, 6'4" and gel in his hair. It's like, oh, you want to become a Protestant, huh? Well, take a seat, grab a cup of coffee, and let me sell it to you. Like, hold on, I can't let you leave till you become a Protestant. Ching, like a blinding smile. That's not who I am, dude. I'm not here to sell you a belief. And I'm not saying that apologists of any faith are bad people. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you believe something and you have a reason for believing it. But that's just not who I am. I'm searching, and I encourage you guys to hang out and search with me. If you have compelling reasons to believe whatever it is you believe, I'm always willing to listen, but I'm usually always willing to give a response as well. I'm still going to pray the rosary every day. I'm still going to do my Qigong. I'm probably looking to delve deeper into traditional Chinese medicine, deeper into probably like kind of like yogic practice and Buddhist practice. I'm probably about ready to start reading some like Eckhart Tolle because Jim Carrey recommended that. I'm really inspired by the things that Jim Carrey says. Dissolving the ego, the idea that we're just consciousness, and what does that mean when people, that's kind of eye rolling. It's like, we're all pure consciousness. It's like, oh geez, here we go. It's like, well, the concept of who I am, I'm Mr. Shields, the drummer musician. I listen to death metal and indie and emo and jazz, and I'm from Kodiak, and I did these moments, and I said this horrible thing, and the clips of me, that's who I am, my worst moments, and you could try to sell it. It's like, if one person's paid to destroy me, one person's paid to, it's like, well, who he is, he's the drummer, philosopher, rapper, he's misunderstood, he's an intellectual, he's a great guy, he's sweet. No, who he is the Pimpin' Pat clips, and he's horrible, and he says horrible things, and he's mean, and he's misogynist, and he's racist, and the reality is, I'm none of that. It's like when Heraclitus talked about every day you check on the river, and it's a different river every time because the water is flowing through it. I'm just this constant flowing stream, and yeah, I said good things, and I said bad things. I hurt people, and I helped people. I've sinned, and I've not sinned. I'm just a person experiencing this life who has done things. And when you can let go of this concept of who you are, because it's probably just a bunch of crap. Like, well, I'm somebody who watches Trailer Park Boys and reads Oprah books and watches self-help videos and likes dogs and cats and wants to have sex. Like, that's who I am. This is me. It's like, that's pretty much everybody, dude. Really, you're just an experiencer. You're just somebody here experiencing a life. And when you can let go to this idea of who you are, see, because the religion's a part of it. It's like, I'm a Protestant. That's who I am. Yeah, we did it. Martin Luther. It's like, no, I'm a Catholic. Yeah, based Crusader armor. Yeah, that's right, heretics. I'm coming for you, heretics. It's just, I'm not any of that. I'm just me, and I'm experiencing this life, and we're all experiencing this life together. And I tend to think that whatever kind of like punishment there is, I don't think it's eternal conscious torment. This is where it all started for me, is I just don't believe in eternal conscious torment. because there's so many kinds of Christianity at this point, and they all seem to think they're the only ones going to heaven. And I know enough to know that that's not really the case, but it's kind of divided. That's another division, you know? You'll have Protestants who's like, well, ultimately Catholics have faith, and that's enough to get saved, and I just feel sorry for them. But then you have a lot of Protestants like, no, hell no, they're burning in hell. And I don't like hell. I don't think I believe in that concept of hell. I think maybe, and here's a hot take, Jesus spoke in parables. Jesus says hell is the gnashing of teeth and weeping outside of the kingdom of heaven. Well, maybe this is it. Maybe this life is the gnashing of teeth and weeping outside of the kingdom of heaven. Why not? Why not, bro? Because the kingdom of heaven is so much like nirvana. So why couldn't hell just be like reincarnation? You know, you're trying to escape the reincarnation cycle. You're trying to attain heaven. You're trying to obtain the kingdom of heaven. Do I believe that? I don't know. But for now, I'm settling on that because hell's a buzzkill, dude. I don't think I'm going to hell. You know, you kind of got to just look out for yourself. It's like, well, you know, I got Jesus and I'm cutting sin out of my life and I'm being a good person. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to lift people up. I don't think I'm going to hell. I'm not going to tell anybody else that they're going to hell because it's this weird kind of narcissistic thing, like to be like, yeah, well, you're going to suffer for all eternity anyway, so fuck you. Like, you know, it's like, it's negative. I don't think you're supposed to tell people they're going to hell, especially when you think about, you know, judge, lest not ye be judged. Take the log out of your own eye before you take the speck out of somebody else's eye. Matthew 7. So yeah, it's 41 minutes. Probably longer than I would have wanted this video to be. Maybe you thought this was boring. Maybe this is the most interesting video I've ever made. I don't know. Here I am in a void in the new place where I've moved. Still don't have any friends. I still haven't been on a date in 7 going on 8 years. I still feel like my life is a massive train wreck. I still love Jesus. I just kind of feel like I'm in that white room that Squidward was in the episode of SpongeBob where he has the time machine. I'm in some sort of a weird place and I don't know, and I've been searching for a very, 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 very long time, but I think this is an important step to whatever's coming next. And maybe the lesson to be learned is that you need to stop being like, oh, I'm a Catholic now. Hey, everybody, I'm a Catholic. You want to debate about being a Catholic? Oh, actually, I'm a Protestant now. Hey, everybody, I'm a Protestant. You want to debate about being a Protestant? Oh, guess what, guys? I'm a Mormon. Guess what? I'm a Jehovah's Witness. Oh, it's like it's just time to stop. It's just time to stop because if I've realized anything along the way, it's like, wow, there are a lot of denominations and there's a lot of complicated explanations behind all these things. And these people spend their lives cementing this worldview. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm looking for the truth. I believe that Christ is the truth. I believe maybe a lot of Eastern philosophers, even, oh my gosh, gasp, Plato and maybe even Plotinus. And I just think there's a lot of intelligent people to learn from. And I also kind of would like to have a girlfriend and maybe a job, maybe a family and kids or not, or a career, or maybe play some drums or keep writing rap music. There's probably some interesting stuff to make music about, or maybe even sing. I don't know, dude. I kind of want to live a life. Maybe this could be my life. I don't know, dude, but this little backdrop, this little couch, and there's people trying to figure out where this couch is. I don't even know where it is, man. I feel like it's symbolic for where I'm at in life. I just don't know. I've been alive for 33 years, which is how old Jesus was when he died. It's the number that Freemasons wank off to all the time. And I don't know, man. What a life that it's been. I think it's very important that I don't lose my faith, but my faith is not in the church. It is not in a denomination. It's Jesus Christ. Do I believe in salvation by faith or salvation by works? I think I believe in salvation by works for the most part. I said something on stream that was kind of a hot take. If you do everything that Jesus said and you don't even believe in Jesus, you're all right by me. That's not what I believe, but I'm also becoming more accepting of what other people believe. I'm not going to jump down your throat for believing something out there, bro. Even if you're like a Gnostic or you have some sort of like new age spiritual kind of view. Now, when you start saying things that are like Lucifer positive, and I think Satan was the good guy, and like, I don't know about that. I believe in darkness. I definitely believe in darkness and wickedness and evil. But I mean, I did say that I don't know if Yahweh's good, so I don't know. This has gone on long enough, guys. There's no conclusion to this video because I don't have all the answers, so God bless. I guess that's it. Later.